Having camped last night out on the top of Lower White Tor in the wonderful Dartmoor, Dan and I have plans for a great day out today before pitching up for a second night further around our planned tour. Hi, I'm Warren Brand and welcome to another Linleys video. Hopefully you've seen the previous video, which includes our trip along Wistman's Wood and then up and over Longaford Tor and Upper White Tor. The weather is rarely kind to trekkers as they roam and wander about the moors. Today was no exception, although for the most part it has remained dry for us. What's Dan going all hoppity about? What is in your socks today, mate? Off the top of Lower White Tor, we're making our way over a wide area of rough ground with not much of a path to follow. With the mist and limited visibility at times, part of our navigation was by map and compass bearing. We crossed a little river which has very big intentions. Just here it's the upper part of Cherry Brook, but lower down it feeds into West Dart River, the counterpart to the unsurprisingly named East Dart River. Through the craggy high ground just south of Broad Down, we then push on across the moor to find the special area called Sandy Hole Pass on the East Dart River. The terrain changes rapidly between the rocky sections of the high ground and the broad, relatively flat, wide moorlands in between. Here particularly, the ground is hard work to walk over, with the soft peat, ruts and tufty grass. Trekking here reminds me of some of the areas on the top of Kinder. Meeting up with the East Dart River, we're heading northeasterly a little to follow it for about a kilometre along the bank on the south side. In the shelter of the river cutting, we took some time out for a lunch stop. I have my bee-free water filter system and topped up my water bottles for the remainder of the trip. While my lunch was on the boil, I randomly decided to go for a dip in the water pool. It looks so inviting with the water rushing in above, the calmness of the deep pool and the overspill as the water continues off down the valley. Dan was most amused after his initial surprise at my suggestion of a quick swim.
It's lovely. I'm standing up.
Are you?
I'm standing. There's a boulder there.
So how was it?
Enjoyable, good, refreshing. And remarkably, I'm not cold at all.
There is something special about swimming in fresh water, especially in such an idyllic little pool. A quick swim was enough though. Lunch was on the boil, and I must be honest, I enjoyed the hot snack and drink after my swim. We had spent rather too long here at the water's edge, so next we pushed on as best as we could, following the river upstream for about 1 kilometre. As Cut Hill water flows from the west, we headed straight up to the top of Flat Tor, using a compass bearing to make sure we were heading in the right direction. As we approached the high ground, there's an army warning sign that came into view, warning us of the potential active firing range. We turned left south following the line of poles marking the Army's danger area as it's shown on the map. Soft and squidgy, tufty grass moorland is all around, with very little in the way of path or track to follow, just a line of poles leading us towards Rough Tor in the distance. Rough Tor was our target for this evening, but we had a little more time to trek and the top was not as picturesque as we had hoped, with the horrid cubic bunkers perched on top. We continued on for another kilometre south to Crow Tor, which we could see in the near distance. Around the other side, away from the wind, there's a lovely patch of reasonably flat but well-drained grass, just ready for us to pitch our tents. Somehow, for some reason, and I really can't explain why, Dan and I felt totally compelled to climb and explore the rocky tor. Funny that. With our bedroom set up, we settled ourselves in the dining area with the side kitchen, in the shelter of the rocky lumps behind our backs. The temperatures beginning to fall, and we were pleased to have the chance to rest back out of the wind. Dan has kindly given me a summit to eat beef and potato stew meal to try as a change from my routine meal of pasta and sauce or the cheap rice meals I often have. I was very impressed actually, better than I had expected.
Not. That's right. Yesterday's stew. It is a bit yesterday's stew, but it's alright. Yeah. Texture's there. So the soft bits are soft, and there's some chewy, meaty bits. And it's stayed warm enough.
As has become a bit of a thing with my overnight camps out, I have a packet of custard and a box of apple pies. The apple pies always crumble up so much, I call them apple crumbles and custard.
I usually use my little as a carrier for 2 apple crumbles, apple pies, and then they stay more pie.
That's warm. Warm between my legs.
As the evening moved on, Dan and I had discussed and debated a whole load of ideas about trips, stories from the past and plans for tomorrow. A hot chocolate with a warming dash of whiskey concluded our meal. We have found a prime spot on the top of Crow Tor, but the wind was still whipping around. We had a good night in our tents with just 1 or 2 brief rain showers and not too much of a battering by the wind. Morning, Dan. Dan keeps his kit in good shape when out camping, but by the morning most of my gear is scattered about inside my tent. I'm usually quicker at packing up than he is, though. Breakfast of porridge and coffee gets the day going really well. My Hilleberg Akto has been ideal out in Dartmoor. I usually use my Vango Sol 200 in the summer months, but with the prospect of a wickedly wild and windy Dartmoor, I opted for the more robust Akto to be my shelter for these 2 nights. A good choice, I'm sure.
Morning!
Focus this time.
Cheers, coffee time.
Yeah, and you sleep alright?
Very good, remarkably good. Not too windy, even though it was blown out. I think the wind came round a little bit further last night. Certainly on this side it was blowing. But...
Packed up, we set our sights on Beardown Tor, further south, another kilometre away. Not such an easy route as we discovered, with the need to skirt around a long meandering water conduit and rather a lot of boggy ground. Yep, even more. Beardown Tor is very impressive and perhaps the best of all of the tours on our trip. Each one has its own unique character, of course, but this one has 2 rocky lumps to explore. Even in the morning's misty, murky weather, the views were great from the top. The shortest, quickest way down next is a priority because of Dan's incessant, persistent reminder that we had agreed to stop at a Big Mac on the way back home. Dan, thank you for another great trip out. 2 nights out again on the hills. Maybe next time we'll be back in some woodland using tarps and bivvies. Who knows? If you've enjoyed this video, please spare a click or tap on the little thumbs up button. Each one counts. I hope you also find the time to catch some of my older other videos too. We followed the trail down to a woodland on the side of a steep bank. We probably didn't follow the right path at this point, as we ended up needing to cross a river and find our way without a path to get to the main track leading back to the car at 2 bridges. Thanks for watching and bye for now.